Lily lived in a world of whispers, not the kind that carried secrets on the wind, but the kind that lived inside her head. Worries, they were called, though Lily thought worrywarts fit them better. They scurried around her thoughts, making it hard to just...
What if you're late? What if you forget your homework? What if you trip in the hallway and everyone laughs?
Take school, for instance. While other kids chattered before the bell, Lily's worrywarts would be having a field day. Lily would try to shush them, but they were persistent little things. They meant well, she knew. They just wanted to keep her safe. But sometimes Lily just wanted to feel free. Max was a firework, bright, loud and full of explosive energy. He zoomed through life at full speed, leaving a trail of laughter and chaos in his wake. At school, Max was the king of tag, the champion of kickball. He told the best jokes, even if they sometimes got him in trouble.
He couldn't help it. His words just burst out like popcorn kernels in a hot pan.
But sometimes, Max's fuse would run short. If he lost a game, or if someone disagreed with him, a fiery feeling would build up inside him. It felt like a dragon trying to escape his chest, and more often than not, it ended up scorching everyone around him. Ella was a dreamer. Quiet and observant, she saw the world in colors most people missed. While other kids raced through the playground, Ella would be collecting fallen leaves, mesmerized by their intricate patterns. She loved to draw. Her sketchbook was filled with fantastical creatures and landscapes, each a reflection of the swirling emotions inside her.
Sometimes, a heavy sadness would settle over her, like a thick fog obscuring the sun. It made her want to curl up and disappear, to hide from a world that felt too bright, too loud, too much.
Ella felt things deeply, but she wasn't always sure why. Ella wished she understood what made the fog roll in, and more importantly, how to make it disappear. The woods behind their school were forbidden territory. At least that's what the teachers said. But rules, especially ones whispered in hushed tones, held a certain allure for Lily, Max, and Ella. One crisp autumn afternoon, with the sun painting the leaves in fiery hues, the three found themselves drawn to the edge of the woods.
What if we get lost? What if there are wild animals?
Come on, slowpokes, adventure awaits.
Lily, as always, had a chorus of worrywarts chirping in her ear. Max naturally was undeterred. Ella, lost in her own thoughts, trailed behind, her gaze drawn to the way the sunlight danced on a spiderweb strung between two branches. It sparkled like 1,000 tiny diamonds. The woods were different than they'd imagined. The air hummed with a strange energy, a symphony of rustling leaves and chirping insects. Sunbeams slanted through the canopy, painting dancing patterns on the forest floor. Deep in the heart of the woods, they stumbled upon a clearing, and in the center stood a tree unlike any they'd ever seen. Its bark shimmered with an otherworldly glow, and its leaves whispered secrets to the wind.
This feels strange. Maybe we should go back.
Lily felt a nervous flutter in her stomach. The worrywarts, sensing her unease, began to multiply.
This tree is magical.
Max, however, was captivated. He ran his hand along the tree's smooth bark, a sense of wonder filling his eyes. Ella, drawn by an invisible force, reached out and touched a shimmering leaf. A jolt of energy surged through her, making her gasp. As soon as Ella's fingers brushed the leaf, the forest around them came alive. The trees swayed in a silent dance, their branches reaching out like welcoming arms. The air crackled with unseen energy. And then, the most extraordinary thing happened. The trunk of the shimmering tree split open, revealing a swirling vortex of colors. It pulsed with an otherworldly light, beckoning them closer. Lily's breath caught in her throat. Her worrywarts were strangely silent, as if even they were awestruck by the sight before them.
Whoa, this is even better than a roller coaster.
Max, his eyes wide with excitement, took a step towards the swirling portal. Ella felt a strange pull towards the light, a sense of belonging she couldn't explain. It was as if the swirling colors held the answers to the questions that swirled within her. Lily hesitated at the edge of the shimmering portal. Her worrywarts, finally recovering from their shock, bombarded her with a million anxious thoughts.
What if it's dangerous? What if we get stuck? What if we're never seen again?
Max, ever the daredevil, plunged headfirst into the swirling colours, disappearing with a gleeful whoop. Ella, her hand instinctively reaching for Lily's, took a deep breath and followed. Lily, left with no other choice, squeezed her eyes shut and stepped into the unknown. When she opened her eyes, she found herself in a world both familiar and strange. The forest was still there, but everything was bathed in a pale blue light. The trees, though majestic, seemed to tremble slightly, their leaves rustling nervously in the breeze. And in front of her, perched precariously on a mushroom cap, sat a creature unlike any she'd ever seen. It was small and furry, with oversized ears and eyes that darted back and forth like trapped butterflies. Max, always one for a grand entrance, stumbled out of the swirling portal, expecting cheers and applause. Instead, he found himself in a forest ablaze with colour. Crimson leaves dripped from the trees like drops of blood, and the air crackled with a strange energy that made the hairs on his arms stand on end. The ground beneath his feet felt hot, as if fueled by an inferno deep within the earth.
Never one to back down from a challenge, Max puffed out his chest and marched forward, his eyes peeled for adventure.
He didn't have to go far. Blocking his path stood a creature that seemed to be made of fire and shadow. Its form shifted constantly, flickering flames licking at the edges of its being. When it spoke, its voice was a guttural growl that resonated deep in Max's chest.
Well, what have we here? A little spark, come to play with fire.
Ella stepped through the portal and into a world painted in shades of blue. It was a melancholy kind of beauty, like a forgotten melody or a rain-soaked garden. The air hung heavy with a quiet sadness, a feeling that resonated deep within Ella's own heart. She found herself drawn to a grove of willow trees, their branches drooping towards the ground like weeping mourners. The air here was even stiller, the silence broken only by the gentle dripping of water from the leaves. And there, nestled among the roots of a particularly ancient willow, sat a creature that seemed to embody the very essence of sorrow. It was made of soft, flowing energy, its form constantly shifting like smoke on the wind. Its color was a deep, mournful blue, the color of twilight and teardrops. As Ella approached, it looked up at her with eyes filled with a deep, abiding sadness. Ella, who knew a thing or two about sadness herself, felt a strange kinship with the creature. She didn't shy away from its sorrow, but instead found herself drawn to its quiet intensity. Back in the blue-tinged forest, Lily found herself staring up at the jittery creature perched on the mushroom.
Hello.
Lily stammered, her voice barely a whisper. The Worrywarts, sensing her fear, began to chant their usual warnings, but Lily, for once, tried to ignore them. The creature twitched its nose and hopped down from its perch, landing softly on the forest floor.
You must be Lily. I've been waiting for you.
Lily's eyes widened.
You know my name?
She asked, her voice trembling slightly. The creature nodded, its ears drooping slightly.
I know many things, Lily, but most importantly, I know your worries.
Lily took a step back, her heart pounding in her chest.
How do you know about my worries?
She asked, her voice barely a whisper. The creature smiled sadly.
Because, Lily, I am worried.
Lily stared at the creature who called himself Worry, her mind struggling to grasp the impossible. Her Worrywarts, for once, were silent, as if holding their breath. This creature, this embodiment of her deepest anxieties, didn't seem scary or menacing. Instead, he radiated a strange sort of kindness, a gentle understanding that disarmed her. But you're Worry, Lily stammered, her voice barely a whisper. You're the one who makes my stomach churn and my thoughts race. You make it hard to breathe sometimes.
Worry hopped closer, his large eyes filled with concern. It's true, Lily, he said, his voice soft as the rustling leaves. I am the voice of caution, the keeper of what-ifs. My job is to keep you safe, to anticipate danger. He paused, and Lily saw a flicker of something like sadness cross his features. But sometimes, he continued, I forget that not all dangers are real. Sometimes I let my worries grow too big, too loud, until they drown out everything else.
Lily, her heart softening, found herself nodding. It was as if Worry was voicing a truth she'd always sensed but never dared to speak aloud. Max faced the fiery creature, his usual bravado faltering for a moment. The heat radiating from the being was intense, almost overwhelming. But Max, never one to back down from a challenge, stood his ground, his fists clenched, ready for whatever this encounter might bring. "Your anger, right?" Max asked, his voice louder than intended in the crackling silence of the crimson forest.
The creature, its form shifting like flames whipped by the wind, let out a booming laugh that echoed through the trees. "You've got that right, kid," Anger roared, its voice a mix of thunder and crackling fire. "I'm the one who makes your blood boil, the one who sets your soul on fire."
Max felt a surge of defiance rise within him. "Well, I'm not afraid of you," he retorted, puffing out his chest.
Anger's fiery form seemed to pulse for a moment, as if surprised by Max's boldness. Then it shifted again, the flames dying down slightly to reveal a core of smoldering embers. "Good," Anger said, its voice quieter now but no less intense. Anger, when controlled, can be a powerful force. It can fuel your passions, ignite your spirit.
Ella sat down gently beneath the weeping willow, her gaze drawn to the creature of swirling blue energy. Sadness, she'd realized, wasn't something to fear, but rather a presence to acknowledge, a feeling to understand. As she observed the creature, she felt a strange sense of peace settle over her. "Your sadness," Ella whispered, her voice barely audible over the gentle rustling of the willow leaves.
The creature, its form flowing like water, turned its sorrowful eyes towards her. "Yes, little one," Sadness replied, its voice a soft murmur like the sighing of the wind. "I am the keeper of tears, the guardian of grief."
Ella, instead of shrinking back, found herself leaning closer, drawn to the creature's quiet sorrow. "Why are you here?" she asked, her voice filled with a child's earnest curiosity.
Sadness shifted slightly, its form momentarily resembling a teardrop before flowing back into its amorphous shape. "I am here because sadness is a part of life, just like joy, anger, and fear," Sadness explained, its voice gentle as a lullaby. "To feel sadness is to be human, to acknowledge the depths of our hearts."
Lily listened intently as Worry spoke, his words washing over her like a gentle rain. For the first time, she began to see her worries not as tormentors, but as messengers, albeit sometimes misguided ones.
It's okay to worry, Lily. It means you care. But you don't have to let your worries control you. You are stronger than you think.
He plucked a dandelion from the mossy ground and held it out to her.
When your worries feel overwhelming, take a deep breath just like this.
Lily watched in amazement as Worry took a deep breath, his small chest expanding, and then slowly exhaled, sending a puff of air that scattered the dandelion seeds into the air.
Let your worries float away like these seeds. They may return, but you can choose whether to let them take root or simply watch them drift by.
The feelings forest wasn't a place you simply walked through. It was a place you your way through. Each path, each bend in the path brought a new wave of emotions. One moment, sunlight would filter through the leaves, filling the air with a sense of joyful anticipation. The next, a sudden chill might grip the air, bringing with it a wave of loneliness or doubt. Lily, Max, and Ella, each guided by their emotional companions, began to understand that this wasn't a journey about conquering their feelings, but about learning to navigate them. Worry, Lily discovered, could be a valuable guide, helping her anticipate potential pitfalls and make thoughtful choices. But she also learned to recognize when worry's warnings were unfounded, when it was safe to let go and trust her instincts.
You know, Anger, I think I'm starting to get it. Your fiery nature isn't all bad. It can fuel my creativity, ignite my competitive spirit, and push me to stand up for what I believe in.
That's right, Max. It's all about how you channel it.
Ella, walking hand in hand with Sadness, discovered that even the deepest sorrow held within it the seeds of understanding and compassion. Sadness, you've taught me to appreciate the fleeting beauty of the world, to cherish the moments of joy and to offer comfort to others who are hurting.
And you've shown me that even in the darkest times, there's a light of understanding and compassion.
As the children ventured deeper into the feelings forest, they began to cross paths more often, their individual journeys intertwining like the branches of the ancient trees. They shared stories of their encounters with Worry, anger and sadness, realizing that even though their experiences were unique, their feelings were connected. Max, when your temper flares, try to take a deep breath. It might help calm you down.
Thanks, Ella. And Lily, I know it's tough, but you've got this. We're here for you.
Lily learned to offer Max a calming presence when his temper threatened to flare out of control. Max, in turn, discovered a newfound patience for Lily's anxieties, offering encouragement and support when she felt overwhelmed. And Ella, with her quiet wisdom, helped both Lily and Max to acknowledge and express their emotions in healthy, constructive ways.
Remember, it's okay to feel what you're feeling. We're all here to help each other.
They discovered that the Feelings Forest wasn't just a place to confront their emotions, but also a place to share them, to learn from each other, and to build a network of support. They realized that they weren't alone in their struggles, and that asking for help, whether from a friend, a family member, or even a magical creature in a mystical forest, was a sign of strength, not weakness. As the sun began to set, casting long shadows across the forest floor, the children knew it was time to return home. They stood before the shimmering portal, a mix of emotions swirling within them: gratitude, excitement, and a touch of sadness at leaving this magical place behind. Stepping back through the shimmering portal, the world seemed different. The familiar sights and sounds of their neighborhood held a newfound clarity, as if a veil had been lifted. The ordinary seemed extraordinary, infused with the magic of the Feelings Forest. Lily found herself walking a little taller, her steps lighter. The Worrywarts were still there, whispering their cautions, but their voices seemed quieter now, less insistent. She knew she carried within her the tools to manage her anxieties, to breathe through the fear and find moments of peace.
You know, the fiery energy inside me feels different now. It's like a source of strength, something I can harness and direct.
Max, too, felt a shift within himself. The fiery energy that often threatened to consume him now felt like a source of strength, something to be harnessed and directed. He knew that anger, like a powerful storm, could be destructive, but he also understood its potential to bring about change and growth. Sadness isn't an ending, it's a beginning. It's a reminder to cherish the present moment, to find beauty in the unexpected, and to offer compassion to myself and others. Ella, her heart full of newfound understanding, looked at her companions, her eyes shining with a quiet joy. Sadness, she realized, wasn't an ending, but a beginning. It was a reminder to cherish the present moment, to find beauty in the unexpected, and to offer compassion to herself and others. As they walked away from the woods, hand in hand, the sun setting behind them in a blaze of color, they knew that the magic of the Feelings Forest would stay with them, a reminder that they were not alone in their journey through the ever-changing landscape of their emotions. The world, they now understood, was a symphony of feelings, and they had found their place in the orchestra.